Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life with best-selling author and coach Kathy Williams, a show to help you tap into the support of the universe and access the abundance that's available in every area of your life. Listen in for conversations and tools to create more ease, joy, and possibility with family, relationships, business, and living. Kathy's joyful perspective will help you tap into your own wisdom and create a life of presence and abundance your way. Listen live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, or anytime on iTunes or at IOM FM.
Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and I'm so excited for today's topic. If you are a parent, you will be too, or maybe not. But it is tips for making the hardest job in the world easier. And oh my gosh, nothing prepares you for the job of parenting. Even if you've been an older sibling, even if you've been around kids, it's just like, oh my gosh, why didn't someone tell me this? And as we know, kids don't come with a manual, and each one is different. So we're going to explore some different tools and perspectives to make parenting easier today. And take what you think will work for you, play with it, and maybe come back to this. Just see what pops. And you have your whole parenting career to work with it. And gosh, speaking of career, it's so interesting how many jobs being a mom or even a dad requires of us, right? Coach, cook, confidant, cop, teacher, so many different things. And it pulls out of us like more patience than we ever knew was possible. Pulls out of us skills and abilities that we didn't know we had, or we thought we had in droves, and then we're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I'm not a patient person. Other adults listen to me, and these people don't seem to, So I've definitely had my parenting moments and learned a thing or two along the way. I've also learned from some amazing people as I started to take this job kind of more, I don't want to use the word seriously because it doesn't have to be serious, but really realized oh, I study about finances. I study about yoga. I study about fitness. I study about nutrition. And yet, I studied what was the book? What to expect when you're expecting. But beyond that, okay, how to make your baby feel like it's cuddled and so it'll calm down and sleep. But other than that, for a while there, I just felt like I was playing parenting by ear. And of course would get some love and logic or some different philosophies here and there, some of it which kind of also messed me up and made me neurotic. I mean, nothing can mess me up but me, but I became neurotic after trying to follow some of these parenting styles that really didn't work for me. So it's important we always sort of tap in and saying, okay, this is awesome. It works for a lot of people. It's awesome for a lot of people, yet it's not the only way. And does it work for me and my family? And for example, I used the Waldorf style for a while, and I even went to some classes, Waldorf parenting, and Waldorf is an amazing system and, brings up some brilliant, beautiful individuals. And so I thought, this is the way, right? And first clue, that something was off. no way is the way, okay? Everything has, pieces that will work for maybe even just one of your children and not all of them, or pieces that'll work for your whole family, and then a few things that are kind of off about it. Like, because that program was not custom made for you. So you get to look at what's working here and what's not. So anyway, I went and some of the premises were you need to keep your child warm, you need to keep your child indoors, these are very young children, and try and not stimulate them too much. And by trying to follow that, I went so stir crazy. I was like, ah! So as we go through the show together, just start to look at oh, yes, this one is kind of speaking to me, this idea. Let me just see how this other idea works. I'm not sold on it yet. And this piece, maybe I've tried, I don't like it. Maybe it's time to try it again or with a different child, because each child is different. And just really explore, because this is about not only developing and expanding your children's world, but children definitely develop and expand us. Have you noticed? I brought up patience a couple times already. And communication style, right? So many different things. And so as I started on this journey, then I realized, okay, maybe it's time for me to expand my toolbox and my willingness even to sit with the idea of myself as a parent. Because I had a certain projection of what a parent did or what a mother did. And whenever we have projections, they kind of get in the way, first, of us seeing what is, and second, of us seeing what is truly possible. And so I had this idea, my show name even has the word mom in it right now, right? And a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have had that, because my idea of a mom was she modifies herself, she drives her kids to soccer practice, and I'm not that person. And it turns out when my kids started soccer, I loved going to the field because I could put my feet in the grass. I had an hour to just sit with the birds. It's so funny, the ideas we get, no, that's not for me. And then we try it and it's oh. So the first thing I would start to look at, and for me, that's that I've even sat for a half an hour probably a half an hour at a time, but you could even do longer, about what ideas do I have clouding my true perception of parenting? What projections are already in place? Oh, that a mom isn't sexy, or that she has to do this, or she, has to go to every soccer game or ballet performance, can't travel all over the world, right? That was one of my ideas. Oh my gosh, I love to travel all over the world, teach workshops, but I have kids. Okay. And once I started to look at and dissect that idea, I was like, well, what if I could travel? So what ways could that work, right? So you look at your premises, you look at where you're starting from, and then start to look at, well, maybe that's not true, or what if I could see it in a different way, or is there a way for it to work for me? And maybe I don't go to every ballet performance, but maybe I find someone who's really special to my child to attend each ballet performance. So I go to 4, and someone else goes to the others. Something like that, where it's my kid is getting their needs met. And first off, I'm projecting so that they have this need for me to go. So that's another thing we do as parents. we project that my child has certain needs. We project that, oh, if they're not doing this certain thing that I think they should be doing, they're not going to graduate college, and then they're not going to, not. So we project a lot of fear onto them about their choices. And so we can start to look at that. But before we head there, so what's your starting point? What are your premises? What do you think is happening that maybe is not actually really happening, or is not really in place in regard to parenting? And then the second thing is to look at, what do you actually know is true? Oh, I know the way I live influences the way my children live and what choices they make. For me, I know that the more I embody qualities of love and presence, like the qualities of love, patience, kindness, generosity, all these qualities, the more my kids function from that space as well, and function from a calmness. And so the first premises we're looking at are ones we can question and maybe even eradicate. Like, that's not actually true that I have to be at every show. Or that's not actually true that moms can't be sexy, or whatever it is. I'm just showing you some of the ones that I've had. Then what do I really know is true, and where would I like to function from? For me, in addition to the way I live influences my children and likely generations to come, another premise is my children are infinite beings who chose me as their mother. And what's cool about that as a premise is, well, that means they don't need me to be what I'm not, right? They don't need me to be the doting mother whose reason d'etre is parenting. That's not who I am. I can enjoy parenting and have fun and contribute to my kids, but my whole reason for being is not being a mother. And I admire people who have that, because I know some amazing mothers who yes, my reason for being is being a mom. That is awesome. And for me, my kids chose someone who's not that way. So I don't have to try to turn myself into that, right? My children, as infinite beings, also chose me because I have certain qualities that they would like, and I also present certain challenges that they get to go through. And so, and that to me is a beautiful thing to root into my consciousness. Oh, they chose me. I present certain challenges for them, and I present certain gifts for them as well. So let me enhance my gifts, and let me also, help them as much as I can with the challenges to an extent. So we'll get there too. So what are your premises that you'd really like to be a foundation for your parenting? So as we start to look at these things, this takes like a half an hour, maybe an hour. But as you look at it and you create a foundation of what is parenting for me? We're going to look at some strategies. This helps us create ease. Today during the show, we're also going to go into some certain ways to look at things that will make life a lot easier. I'm just going to start with this exercise that takes a little time. Not too much, but a little. Then what is your vision for your kids? If you could have anything for them, what would it be? And I know a lot of us jump to I'd like them to graduate from an amazing school and go to a good job and be married or whatever. Okay, beyond that, what is your vision for them? Right? Beyond all the worldly successes, what's your vision for them? So for me, what's your vision for your parenting, really? I raise empowered, creative beings with an awareness that their choices create their lives, and their choices also not only impact them but others. So conscientious, who trust themselves and the universe to support them, okay? Who have integrity and clarity and kindness with a reverence for life. Okay, that's what I would really like. Okay? Now, the more I model this, because modeling is one of my jobs, modeling to my kids how to live. Because they're going to watch how I live much more than they listen to what I say. Okay, which requires me to even get more clarity in myself and live with integrity for me. And when I say something that maybe I regret later, to say, hey, I remember having this conversation with my son, hey, Bodhi, I wish I hadn't said that. That wasn't a nice thing to say to you. And I'm really sorry about that. And this is what was going on for me when I said that. I was really feeling overwhelmed or unsupported or whatever it was, right? And explain. And I said, and that's no excuse for speaking to you like that. I wish I had said this instead. I wish I had said that. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Would you help me with this? I really can't do that for you right now. Okay, that's what I wish I had said instead. So I'm sorry. So apologizing for where we didn't live up to where we would like to live. And so when we get back, we're going to look at letting our kids make their own mistakes, trying to have our kids fulfill our needs, and much more. Thanks for listening to Sexy Mom, Abundant Life, everyone.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
We have all read about or heard about becoming more spiritual, about working with our energy, the awakening, the shift, about being our authentic selves, living our purpose, reaching our true potential. The challenge doesn't lie in the knowledge, it lies in the execution. The struggle becomes connecting to that limitless self-healing part that each one of us has and gaining control of who we truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Reverend Aisha Hogan, and you are invited to join me on a master's practice on OMTimes, Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard and 11 a.m. Pacific Standard.
Would you like to have a life of more clarity and abundance? What's possible for you when you get out of your own way? Connect with Kathy Williams for private coaching or join her online to transform your relationship with abundance in every area of your life with the Radical Abundance course. Kathy also travels, facilitating radical abundance and access consciousness bars and foundation around the world. She'll be in London, Hawaii, Hilton Head, and other fun locations soon. Visit www.meetkathywilliams.com for a class schedule, to connect with Kathy, or invite her to your region and get some free goodies.
Hey, hon. son, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. We are having a conversation today about how to make the hardest job in the world easier. And the first sort of section of the show was on where are you functioning from that's maybe not even true. Like, oh, I need to be this to be a good mom, or do this to be a good parent. So the kind of artificial premises, and then almost replacing those or just creating premises that you know are true, like the foundation of where you'd like to function from. Like, my children are infinite beings. They're supported by the entire universe. I don't control them. That would be a premise, right? Where it's like, okay, that helps me realize what's not my job, in a sense. Or for me, one of the ones I mentioned was, the more I embody loving qualities and model those, the more my children embody those and live from that place as well. So something like that. And then setting a vision for how you would like your children to be, right? For me, that was creative, forward thinking, trust themselves, and trust that the universe is a supportive place. Well, in order for that, I then get to strategize, okay? So in order for them to be empowered, I actually have to give up some control, right? To let them make their own choices. So that might be when we're at Target and they say, Mom, which do you think I should get? This one or this one? And then I help them choose. Okay, well, with some questions, right? Well, you know, this one costs $65 and that one costs $17. Now that means if you buy the $17 one, you'll have this amount left over, you know, and then you could use it on something else. And you still get to choose. You know, how will your life be? Will you require someone else to play with you in this game? If so, you know, who will play with you? So helping them make their own choices by asking some questions and helping them realize that each of their choices creates their life. For me, that's huge. Like, oh, you hit your brother. Okay, well, what did that create? He hit you back, and now you have a big red mark, you know? So what would you choose next time? Oh, you bought the $17 toy, and you're having lots of fun with it. Okay, cool. You bought the $65 toy, and it broke the next day. You know, like, what can we choose now? Okay, with the information we have. No choice is a wrong choice. They all give us information. They all expand our awareness. And you can now choose from the place you're at. So that's me taking part of my vision, right? That my children are empowered. And what are strategies to help them with that? Okay, help them make empowered choices. Help them know that if they don't do their homework, it's going to create one thing. And if they do it, it'll create something else. And then not forcing them to do it, right? Okay, he didn't do it. What's that going to create? He gets a 0 on that, which brings his grade down significantly. All right. So this also allows them to learn from their own mistakes, which is a key to bringing ease to parenting. Not making their choices for them, letting them make their own mistakes, and helping them grow from those mistakes. And nothing is actually a mistake, right? It brought you awareness. Number 2 with this one, it's a little more challenging because if we're really looking for more consciousness in our life, children are such a gift to bring that because they help us see our own projections. All right, so let's take the example of my kid is not doing his homework. He won't do his homework today. All right, well, a lot of times that leads to a whole cascade of fears that we have, okay? So one fear might be, well, then he's going to flunk and he's going to have to repeat this grade, and then he's never going to graduate from college and he'll end up homeless on the street. You know, something like that, where it's just like this one little item does not do homework, suddenly like blooms into this whole forest of horrendous weeds, right? So as we look at that, we get to look at, okay, what is this bringing up for me? Oh, it's bringing up the story that he's going to be homeless. And then we could start to rein in that story into, okay, no, this is just about homework right now. And let him make his choice. However, let's have the conversation. Okay, here's my fear. My fear is that if you don't do your homework, it's going to bring your grade down a lot. Okay, could you see that? It might do that. I love it when we say, could you see that this might happen? Because all of a sudden, it's like it's not, this will happen. It's, could you see that this might happen? Yeah. And then if that happens, would you have to work harder in order to graduate from this class? Yeah. Oh, okay. So is that really the choice you want to make? And then letting them make their own choice, because we're no longer coming from the triggered place of, I need to control you to make this happen. Instead, it becomes, they see that they have choice. And let's flip it around. So when someone tries to control you to make something happen, how do you respond? I know for me, if someone tries to control me, I dig my heels in even more. Like, no way. Whereas when I'm given choice and I see that, oh gosh, yeah, if I don't do this thing, that'll probably take me a half an hour. I'm going to have to work much, much harder later. I'll probably choose to do the thing, right? But it's a matter of like, hey, I'm on your team. I'm on your side here. I'm going to help you make choices that work for you. And we're going to take good and bad out of the picture, right? Good and bad is kind of the old paradigm of parenting where it's like, you're a good child if you listen to me, and you're a bad child if you don't. And let's just throw that away, because there are so many instances in which that's not actually really true. Okay? So helping them see, oh, this choice is creating the future I desire. This choice is creating away from the future I desire. I'm going to go with this. And sometimes I might go with the one that's creating away for a minute or a day, and then come back and be like, next time I'll choose something different. Okay? So they're an infinite being. This is not a hierarchy. Parenting is not, you are the person who knows and they're the person who's not. Again, that's kind of the old paradigm, right? If they listen to me, they'll have a successful life. How true is that? Right? Like, lots of people out there have listened to their parents and they're not having, the success that they wanted. Right? And whereas if they had learned to listen to their own heart, then what would have resulted? Okay? So helping your child, well, first off, realizing that they're an infinite being. They chose you. It's a journey that you're in together, and that you get to learn as much from them as they get to learn from you. And you also get to see your own projections onto your child, your own fears. Oh yeah. And then if they were if they don't do their homework, and then they don't graduate, and then they don't get a job, then they're going to be homeless, and that means I was not a good parent, right? I was not enough. So often it comes down to the idea, I am not enough. Okay? So that is a beautiful gift. Like so many of the triggers we have, my child is not going to bed on time, or my child is resistant, or they're forgetful. It comes back to us thinking, oh, I'm not doing a good enough job. Instead of realizing, no, my child is an infinite being. My child is their own person. Right? It's not a hierarchy. This is not always about me. Of course, there are certain things that you can cultivate and help. So again, if my vision is empowered, right, we talked about helping them make their choices. Creative, for me, I recognized I started to project out, oh my, my child doesn't want to come home and do creative things. They want to come home and do Minecraft. That brought up my fears. Like, oh, and then what if they're just a gamer and slob and don't love real life? And, like this whole story about that. And then as I started to look at it, it's like, and turn it around and put myself into their shoes, it's like they had a long day at school. At least one of their classrooms is super involved. One of their classrooms is noisy. They want to kind of come home and chill. They don't want to come home and create this puppet project or a Halloween costume or whatever. They're ready to just come home and kind of decompress for a little while, and then they go off to tennis, right, and sweat under the Hawaii sun, and then you come back. And at that point, it may be time for them to draw or something like that. But like, I had this need. I was not recognizing where are they already being creative. I was projecting that they need to be more creative than they already are. Okay. So sometimes as you look at like what you desire for your child, start to look at where they already have that quality. Because we have this thing called the negativity bias that I talk a lot about in Radical Abundance, where it's like our mind looks for what's off so we can fix it. But we're looking for what's off in our child and not recognizing, no, my son is very creative. He made this, and he did this. Or my daughter, she came up with this amazing idea. So starting to recognize and grow and encourage that which we desire. And it starts by seeing it, right? Seeing it and acknowledging it. The third thing that I have in my vision about what kind of child I'm working on raising is people who trust themselves, right? Trust themselves. So the more I can ask them, well, what's your awareness about that? Yeah. Oh, okay, you don't like that person. Is there, can you tell because your body has a feeling about them? Are they untrustworthy? Ask some questions that kind of help them see what's true for them. And then trusting that the universe supports them. Okay. In my family, we tend to talk about gratitude either at dinner or before we go to bed to help ourselves see, oh yeah, there are so many good elements of our day. Even on the worst day, there are still so many things that are working out for us. So your vision for your child may not be, my vision, and that's totally fine. It shouldn't be, right? It may have some of the same elements, but it's really like, what kind of person are you developing? And a lot of us, create some kind of vision for our child that involves certain successes, right? Oh, they get in an Ivy League school, or they're the center of their ballet performance or acting show, trying to achieve some level of significance or validation through our own child. And so we could start to look at that and say, okay, like, is that really what they want? Okay. What if they could have success in ways that work for them, and I don't need to validate myself through my child? Right? So starting to heal some of our own unmet needs. As a child, what did I need that I didn't get in terms of validation or feeling significant? And how can I give that to myself so that my child can get it from themselves as well, and I don't have to force or push? So we're going to talk about correction and consequences when we come back, and co-creating our experience with our sons or daughters. Thanks so much for being here, everyone, and we'll be right back.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Would you like to have a life of more clarity and abundance? What's possible for you when you get out of your own way? Connect with Kathy Williams for private coaching, or join her online to transform your relationship with abundance in every area of your life with the Radical Abundance course. Kathy also travels, facilitating radical abundance and access consciousness bars and foundation around the world. She'll be in London, Hawaii, Hilton Head, and other fun locations soon. Visit www.meetkathywilliams.com for a class schedule, to connect with Kathy, or invite her to your region and get some free goodies.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and we are having a conversation about parenting and getting clarity about what it is we truly desire in our relationship, in what we're cultivating here. So we're kind of cultivating a plant that has its own mind and emotions and journey. So on us is certain things, right? Like if we're cultivating a plant, we try to put it in the area that has the right amount of shade and give it water, but not too much or too little. And, maybe some plant food here and there. And if it becomes too cold for the plant, we take it inside, certain things. So we are co-creating with our children. We're co-creating this experience. And one thing that I've found useful that I'm beginning to implement more is to, as I go to sleep, kind of reflect on the day with my child and say, oh, you know what? Here in this moment, he was looking for validation, and I could have been more honoring of that. Or here, next time I would give him a little more space with this project, or I would be more attentive with this project. I remember my son was, his homework was he got to choose between writing an essay or leading a 10-minute yoga class. So he chose to lead the yoga class. And I co-creative enough with him. I was a little bit like, okay, now what do you want me to do? And now what do you want me to do? And he needed a little more guidance. So it would have, in retrospect, I looked and I was like, well, if I had shown him a book and, okay, which of these things would you like me to do? So parenting is a process of refinement. And it's like, okay, what will create more ease? And for me, it's looking at what is the dynamic? What are my children really asking for? Especially when they act out. What is it they're really asking for? Oh, I noticed earlier in the day, I didn't give him, the focused one-on-one time that he was after. And then 2 hours later, he just had this outburst. Okay? Or, I see that there's a consistent pattern where, for me, my son was having a headache after school every day. And, we explored some things. But I didn't ask the school, what's his classroom like? And it's a really noisy classroom. So being curious and knowing that curiosity that you're cultivating in you and in interacting with them not only serves to bring more ease, it also serves to bring more connection and find more solutions. So where's this note I had? So I wanted to talk about connection and correction, because a lot of times when kids are acting out, okay, they want the attention, they want the connection. I remember I took a parenting class years ago, and they said, attention is like a cookie, and a stale cookie is better than no cookie at all. So bad attention is better than no attention. And so as we're co-creating our experience and our days together, looking at like, where is the acting out or the not listening really a covered up call for connection, to be seen, right? To be valued, to be acknowledged as worthy, okay? To know that they matter, right? You matter in our family, okay? We'd like to hear from you. What do you know about this? Right, so looking at these three things, are you seeing them? Are you helping them know that they're worthy, that they're valued, that they matter? And then instead of correcting, again, or instead of reprimanding, you're not going to bed early enough, or you didn't put your shoes in the right place. Hey, I noticed that it's pretty consistent that your shoes end up on the floor out here instead of away. Is there a way that we could help you get those shoes away? Or is there a strategy we could do to change this pattern? Right? And there you're connecting instead of the hierarchy of you should do what I say and you're not doing the right thing. And I've noticed that again and again when I employ this, we're able to come to solutions together. And one of the solutions we have now is, when you come home, instead of your backpack going on the floor, I've put hooks right next to the door so that the backpack can easily just go right to the hooks. So you're working together, co-creating. And, the idea of the desire to be seen, the desire to be worthy, the desire to matter, like we all have that. Okay? There's not one of us who doesn't have that. And so a child's behavior can be ways to evoke these needs. Hey, Mom, look at this, look at me. Or it can be ways to mask these needs. So just looking at, for me, I like pre-bedtime, my own bedtime, kind of look at what went on today. How could I do better? Okay. How could I create more ease? How could we strategize for ease? Put up hooks near the door. Okay. What would add ease to our life? When they have a timer that says in 10 minutes we're going, the timer is key to help them get their shoes on. Right? Instead of me springing on, hey guys, we have to go now. Right? That doesn't work so well here at my house. Okay? So the strategies when you're looking at like what worked today, what doesn't work, what's a consistent source of pain? Right? What's a consistent source of pain? When we're fighting over the iPads every day. Okay, well there's a cool thing on iPad that shuts it off. It doesn't allow them to access stuff after a certain amount of time, right? Like, what's a consistent pain point for us? And then what are some workable solutions? And sometimes that involves a conversation, and sometimes it's just something that you choose and implement. Because not only do your kids create their life choice by choice, we also do. And the more we can be gentle on ourselves and recognize, okay, every day I get more information about parenting too. My family is unlike any family in the world. We're all different. We have different dynamics, different desires. And the more conscious I become, the more that translates, because I can function from a responsive instead of a reactive space. The more I can recognize my children are their own beings with a journey, and choices to make, experiences to have, I'm not in control of that. Thank goodness. That's a lot to carry on my shoulders. They're supported by all that is, and so am I, which creates a lot of ease. Then I don't have to manipulate or control them into being what I think they should be, which gives freedom to both of us and allows us to honor each other in better ways. The only other thing I would leave you with is, if we can be okay with whatever arises, that doesn't mean if someone's standing on your toe or slapping you in the face to continue to let them do that. You can always say, hey, could you move your foot or back up or whatever. But the more we can be okay with any emotion that arises, the more children feel received. Okay? So if they're sad and you say, oh, no, don't be sad. This is going to pass. It's not a big deal that you didn't get on the basketball team. There's always next year. Or you can do the other one that's starting in 2 weeks. Like, if instead you honor, yeah, I get it. It's sad when we don't, get on the basketball team. You really wanted that, so I'm sorry about that. Like, the more we can honor that and honor whatever feeling arises, without trying to go fix it, going to talk to the basketball coach. Hey, why is he not on the team? Can he sit and be on the bench? If you allow him to experience whatever he's experiencing in that situation, it passes, right? If we reject it and push against it, then it's almost like it's undigested. Emotions, energy and motion flows. But if we get rigid about it and reject it, you shouldn't be having that. You shouldn't feel angry. Right? You should feel better, right? Oh, don't worry about it. This is rejection, in a sense. And consciousness, the definition I like from Access Consciousness is consciousness receives everything and rejects nothing, right? That means it allows the emotions. Whatever is okay, and it will pass. It's natural to feel sad when you don't get on the basketball team. I'm sorry about that. Then kids can also receive whatever they're experiencing it without thinking it's bad or wrong. And something beautiful opens up from that space. If we can learn to be the witness of the emotion while realizing, like, I am not that emotion. I am feeling sad temporarily. I am not sad. I am feeling sad. Things flow better, not only for them, but for us. Right? So I leave you to just explore, what are the premises you're functioning from in regard to parenting? What would you rather have as the foundation of your parenting? What kind of children would you really like to raise and have be a part of your life? And what are your strategies for reaching that? And you may not know all those strategies at once. Those may develop and open up and change over time. And so may your premise and vision. And if you would like to, I have on my site and at meetkathywilliams.com a 5-session course that's on energetics with parents and kids, and it's just such a fun class. It was actually a request from some of my people on my list. And they said, Kathy, do a class for parents and kids. So I did it. It's called 5 Days of Energetic Exercises for Kids and Parents, called Pulling in a Better Year. And it's about changing your energy. It's about immunity and building immunity. It's about changing patterns that don't work for us. So it's a really fun little class. It's only $35 for the 5 different sessions, and you all get a code off of any session, anything actually in my shop, which is, your code is SM Radio, and it's 20% off anything in the shop. So at meetkathywilliams.com, and that is anything in the shop. And then I also have upcoming classes which have been requested on relationships. So we have 3 upcoming classes on relationships. What jobs have you taken on that actually aren't yours? Right? Maybe that's like with parenting, you thought my job is to control my child. Relationship cords, which are energetics that really just limit and relations dynamically and can create frustration. So all the upcoming classes are at the easiest spot, meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. I'm also on YouTube, SoundCloud, and all the other places. If you want to hear something, one of the archives before next Thursday, back on IOM.FM. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening, and we'll be back next Thursday. I believe the show is on money. Have a great one. Aloha.